And some breaking news to tell you about here at 11. Two people have been shot outside an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum. Sources telling ABC News that at least one person was a member of the Israeli embassy staff, and at least one person is believed to be dead, and a second was transported to a D.C. hospital in critical condition. We'll continue to update you throughout this newscast as we learn more about that situation. Well, the bombshell news many people anticipated: the Department of Justice under President Trump ending Louisville's negotiated consent decree before it even begins. And thanks for joining us on the night team. I'm Connie Leonard. Doug has the night off. The DOJ announcing today it's moving to drop the agreements that were made with the department during the Biden administration. Mayor Craig Greenberg today assuring the city this is not the end for wanted reforms.
We are moving forward with the community commitment, Louisville's consent decree.
The words are a promise from myself and the mayor that we're going to do this the right way, and we expect that you will hold us accountable to the work that we do.
The Justice Department argues the agreement should be dropped because the Biden administration relied on faulty legal theories and cherry-picked statistics in order to accuse the departments of widespread misconduct. They also claim consent decrees can increase bureaucracy, making recruiting and retaining officers more difficult. The night teams, Alex Dieterer with photojournalist Aspen Hester and Emma Gefter, show us how the city is now working to move forward.
The DOJ is moving to dismiss its case with prejudice, meaning that the case will be permanently closed.
No more federal oversight for Louisville police reform.
It is sad, however, that is the state of affairs for our country, that we have a Department of Justice that, quite frankly, isn't committed to upholding justice or protecting the rights of its citizens.
The decision to end the DOJ's consent decree comes 2 years after a scathing report found a pattern of unconstitutional policing and civil rights violations within LMPD. The oversight now falling solely on the city.
We are moving forward with the community commitment, Louisville's consent decree.
Mayor Craig Greenberg says the city will hire an independent monitor to track progress of Louisville's own consent decree.
I'm happy to see the DOJ dismiss this. We have executed this job and made reforms even before the DOJ showed up on the scene. So we have demonstrated we can do it. We are accountable to the people.
Greenberg says the city's consent decree will happen in less time than the federal 5-year deadline and cost less money, estimating to cost taxpayers $750,000 as opposed to the $3 million for the federal consent decree.
I think Mayor Craig Greenberg is on the right track. I think he's hired the right police chief who's doing good things.
LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey doubling down on his commitment to reform, with or without a DOJ consent decree.
It's not about these words on this paper. It's about the work that the men and women of LMPD, the men and women of Metro government, and the community will do together in order to make us a safer, better place.
We need the words on the paper. We need the action.
Councilwoman Shamika Parrish-Wright calling the end to federal oversight a huge letdown.
My fear is that the families of Breonna Taylor and too many more are not getting the justice on every level that they deserve for their loved ones that have been victims of police abuse, police inaccountability, and police terror.
Chief Humphrey vowing that the push for reform will never be over.
There is no finish line. There is no moment where we will sit back, give each other a pat on the back, and say, you did it. We will always strive to be better, and we expect that the community will hold us accountable to it, and we will hold ourselves accountable to it.
The power now back in the hands of the city. In Louisville, Alex Dieterer, the WHAS11 night team on your side.
And after a federal judge makes a ruling on the end of the decree, applications for Louisville's independent monitor will open, and details for 2 listening sessions will be announced. There will also be an online survey where community members can share the qualities they want to see in the independent monitor. New tonight, a lawsuit has been filed against JCPS after a student was assaulted at Butler Traditional High School. Now, according to the lawsuit, a 12th grade student named Caleb was beaten by another student at the school. The lawsuit claims Caleb was threatened on social media by the attacker and that security guards knew of the attack but did nothing to stop it. The family says the attacker remains at the school and that Caleb has not returned since the attack in November. The lawsuit is accusing the school of negligence and his attacker a battery. They are asking for medical expenses as well as a restraining order against his attacker. We reached out to JCPS for comment, but have not heard back as of this newscast. Tomorrow, JCPS will vote to hire the next superintendent of Kentucky's largest school system. Both Ben Schuldiner and Dr. Brian Yearwood were in town this week to meet with the community and discuss why they would be the best choice to take over the system. Both candidates push back against Republican-led efforts to end DEI initiatives.
The key is to making it part of everything you do, so you actually can't just get rid of it.
We must have diversity because each child comes with a unique personality, a learning style, ability. How can we address all that?
Kentucky lawmakers passed a bill this year defunding DEI initiatives in public colleges and universities. Lawmakers attempted to pass a similar bill targeting K-12 schools, but it died in committee. Republican Representative Jason Nemes calling the candidates' comments concerning. However, he says he'll wait to hold judgment.
I'm going to trust the process, and hopefully, as the person comes in, whoever they hire is somebody who is immediately impressed with the gravity of the situation. We have 97,000 kids. It's a $2.2 billion budget. We spend over $20,000 per kid, and our reading and math scores, science scores, are woefully low.
Meanwhile, Louisville Urban League President Lyndon Pryor commended the candidates for their willingness to stand up to the legislature.
With a federal government that is trying to crack down on districts all the way at the local level, it's really important that the next leader understands equity and is committed to ensuring that it continues in the district.
Again, the school board will pick the new leader of JCPS at 5 p.m. on Thursday. That's according to school board chair Dr. Corey Shull, but the choice won't be announced publicly until a contract is finalized, possibly by Friday. A Southern Indiana woman is accused of withholding donations from a Harvest Homecoming victim fundraiser. According to court documents, Amber Tower owns a t-shirt company that was selling shirts and other merchandise to raise money for the Bryce Gerlach Memorial Scholarship Fund. But she's accused of keeping the money instead of giving it to the family like she said she would. She's now charged with conversion, which is a misdemeanor charge. We spoke with the Harrison County prosecutor about that charge.
And I know that's, I think, members of the community, myself included, wish more could happen. As we talk about justice, it's not always the facts, it's what you can prove are and admissible facts.
And documents claim she owes the family more than $13,000. Misty Knoll, the estranged wife of former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll, pleaded guilty to 10 felonies today.
Using an American Express charge, which you did not have a right to do.
Yes.
If the judge accepts her plea deal, she could spend more than a year in prison. Special prosecutor Rick Hertel says the Jamie Knoll investigation is still technically active, but it's winding down.
I think we look at culpability throughout this entire case, and obviously we feel like Jamie Knoll was the most culpable. That doesn't mean Misty Knoll did not commit a crime. There's evidence today she admitted that she committed a crime.
While the deal has been presented, it has not been accepted yet. A date for sentencing has been set for July 3rd. Misty Knoll would likely serve 75% of her ordered time behind bars for a total of 13.5 months. Her daughter, Casey Knoll, is scheduled to get out of the Harrison County Jail in the next 2 weeks. The inmate who died at Metro Corrections Tuesday has been identified as 42-year-old Brandon McQuillan. McQuillan was accused of hiding a bomb under his car and shooting and killing his father, who was a former Jefferson County Sheriff's deputy. Jail staff say other inmates alerted them to an emergency around 10:40 Tuesday morning when McQuillan was found unconscious in a housing unit. He was pronounced dead about 30 minutes later. The jail's professional standards unit is investigating his death. A new FEMA disaster recovery center is opening tomorrow morning in Boston. That's in Nelson County, where we met with flood victims today who fear FEMA will deny their request to pay for resettlement. Doug Daniels believes his home will just flood again.
I'm getting up in age, and say if it's 5-10 years from now it floods again, you know, I'm going to be so old, I won't be able to do what I did here.
But we didn't get any answers.
It's been 46 days since floodwaters surrounded their homes. They believe it would be another 6 to 8 weeks to find out if they'll receive help to move. Residents of Jefferson, Bullitt, Oldham, and 21 other counties in Kentucky are now able to apply for disaster unemployment assistance for the widespread flooding and severe tornadoes that came through the Commonwealth in April. Those out of work due to the impacts of the April storms can apply for disaster unemployment assistance through the Kentucky Office of Unemployment Insurance. Self-employed individuals are also eligible for benefits. Assistance is available for up to 29 weeks of unemployment as long as the unemployment continues to be a direct result of the flooding. New tonight, the U.S. Department of Education has denied appeals to fund more than $10 million worth of projects at Kentucky schools. It comes after the department abruptly canceled $34 million in federal funds. The U.S. Department of Education pulled out of an agreement to give Kentucky school districts more time to spend COVID relief funds in late March, but left the door open for case-by-case relief. Kentucky's Education Department appealed on behalf of the school districts, but only 2 projects out of Boone County received approval. In a statement, Kentucky's Education Commissioner Robbie Fletcher said, "It is unfortunate that Kentucky has been denied more than $10 million so far to provide resources and improve the learning environment of our students. We expect the federal government to honor its promises to states and to our students." New tonight, an LMDC cruiser was involved in a crash in downtown Louisville. Police responded to the crash on 3rd and Broadway just after 7. Officers say a marked corrections cruiser and another car collided at the intersection. The corrections officer was taken to the hospital as a precaution, but police said they appear to be okay. The other driver refused medical treatment. Police are working to determine what caused that crash. The department